Falls.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
The following program is for mature and logical audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Donald Trump, 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 and Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump. Let's go back to Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Thinking Logically. I'm your host, Joseph Anthony Corsi. We got, as always, a lot to cover today. Topics include the Kamala Harris-Bret Baier interview, I guess you can call it. If you want to call in to give your opinion on what you heard or saw with that thing, we'll be taking calls in the second half of the show. Please call in the number 724-843-1888 or 724-774-1888. We're also going to cover Joe Biden and Obama talking in secret at church like they're in a mob movie or something. Elizabeth Warren, Jeffrey Epstein, much, much more. But first, we got to introduce the crew here. Our producer, Ryan Garazunas. Ryan, how the hell are you?
What is up, my man? Great to see you today, sir.
It's good. We're 18 days away from the election, 19 days away from the election?
You can feel it. And I got to tell you, man, I was busy. I was here at work doing a few things, and I didn't get to hear the Kamala Harris yesterday. So excited to hear what you guys have to say, because the little bits and pieces that I did catch, certainly interesting.
Yes, to say the least. And from Allegheny County, maybe, I don't know, I think he might be on the road. Mr. Gordy, how are you?
I'm on the road, Joe. Ryan, what's going on?
What's up,
Happy
man?
to be back for another episode. We are coming down to it. I said the other day, we were first and goal from the 5, I think, after last night. It might be offsides. It might be first and goal from the 2.5, Joe. What do you think?
Definitely some unforced errors there in that interview. I think we're first and goal from the 1, and they just keep on going offsides. They're trying to play with 12 men, but it's just not working.
Agree.
All right,
let's get into it.
Okay, so first off, what the hell is going on in this presidential race? I have to ask, are the Democrats at this point trying to lose this election on purpose? How else do you explain what we've seen the last few months? Let's recap. We saw Joe Biden don a Trump 2024 hat on September 11th, and then things only got stranger. Joe Biden then, for the first time ever, appeared unannounced in the White House press room. If that wasn't weird enough, it coincided, aka counter-programmed, a Kamala Harris press event that was scheduled to take credit for ending the dock worker strike. Remember that one? Then after that, Biden publicly praised Governor Ron DeSantis after Kamala Harris accused Ron DeSantis of playing politics because he hadn't returned her phone call. None of those things were actually necessary, but Joe Biden did it anyway. Maybe because he really does hate Kamala and is jealous about being stabbed in the back by her. You know what else probably didn't help Kamala? Barack Obama yelling at the brothers on video and in public, mind you, because he knows they can't be counted on to vote for Kamala. Look, Barack Obama knows politics. He has to know something like that will only hurt her. And then what did we see this week with Bill Clinton? What did he come out and publicly say? He said in the state of Georgia, mind you, in the state of Georgia, that Lincoln Riley would not have been killed if the illegals were vetted when they came across the border. So again, what the hell is going on? You can't tell me Barack Obama and Bill Clinton are all of a sudden this dumb. Joe Biden, maybe. Yeah, Joe Biden. Bill looks a little rough around the edges, I guess, too. But Obama? Why? They have to want to lose, right? They have to want to lose, and they're just be the opposition party for 4 years until Trump is done for good and can't run again, like the 2016 through 2020 plan. I guess they could just impeach him too, maybe even throw him in jail. That's still on the table, mind you. Mark, let's just get into this Fox News interview. Boy, did that show she's never been pressed on a single difficult issue or question this campaign, possibly even her life.
Yeah, you know what, Joe? The those on the left are going to hear that she went into enemy territory and that she handled herself well. But those on the right, the conservatives, and hopefully those independents are going to see, how she really handles herself in an interview where it's not favorable to her. Donald Trump, they called it an ambush. Donald Trump has been in these situations countless times, has he not? So now the shoe's on the other foot, and, they're crying foul now. I thought Bret Baier gave her plenty of opportunities to explain herself, actually. So she didn't really do that at all.
You made a great point. In the interview, Bret Baier, he gave Kamala a chance to completely redo her statement on what she would do differently than Biden. And she couldn't do it. She couldn't even articulate a point. Was she unprepared for that question? Was her response on purpose? Or is she just that bad at interviews and politics in general? How'd she get enough votes for the nomination, Mark? Oh, yeah, that's right.
Well, that's why she didn't receive any votes, and that's why she dropped out before the Iowa caucuses, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I was thinking, Joe, today, I'm like, well, it really wasn't that bad, but the more I thought about it, I said to myself, if it wasn't that bad, her 4 staffers, according to Bret Baier, wouldn't have been giving him the wrap sign off to the side, telling him to wrap up the interview. Now, apparently, she was supposed to be there at 5 for a half-hour interview. They were going to edit it briefly and then show it at 6, a half hour later. She showed up 15, 20 minutes late, and they were only trying to give Bret Baier like a 20-minute interview. So they were trying to cut the interview short as it was. And I'm sure that didn't sit well with him or any of the producers at Fox News either. But, Bret Baier, I saw today on X Show, he's a devout Catholic. I'm not saying that, maybe he was a little bit aggressive with her for that reason, but I'm sure that was in the back of his mind somewhere. I just love watching the liberals cry liberal tears on MSDNC, bashing Bret Baier and saying he continued to interrupt her, which he did at times. And I saw a little bit of Donald Trump and Kamala Harris last night in that she was weaving in and out like Trump does a little bit. I'm not saying good or bad, but I saw a little bit of that last night. But she must have mentioned Donald Trump's name how many times, Joe? 15, 20? Almost every answer, she would turn it back somehow on Trump. So those are some of my takeaways. It was good to see Bret Baier and Fox News uphold some journalistic integrity after we saw legacy media fail us.
The point I'm going to make here before we move on to some audio, her worst line that's going to come back to haunt her, Halloween pun right there, if you're paying attention, was, you got to take responsibility for what happened in your administration. Oh, really, Kamala? Really? That's rich. All right, let's play some of this audio. Ryan, it's like the worst 23-second clip in interview history for a presidential candidate, I think. Just play it, please.
If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
Madam
You
Vice
and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that over the last decade,
But you're
people
the
have
lever of
become.
power.
But listen.
Mark, let me read you what Bret Baier said on Fox News after this. He said, "At times, I really didn't know what Kamala Harris was talking about. I would ask her about a present day issue, and she'd be going back a decade to talk about Donald Trump." Oof. You were talking about her staff waving their hands for the interview to stop after 20 minutes. Ryan, play that audio clip of Bret Baier. I think it's Bret Baier.
President, and I'm talking like 4 people waving their hands, like it's got to stop.
You know what that reminded me of? The fact that the waving the arms. It reminded me of Rocky IV. What's his name? Tony Duke. I can't remember his last name. Oh, I'm so mad. That's like the scene from Rocky IV with her staff. Stop the damn match. Throw the towel. Throw the damn towel. Mark, verbatim, the exact scene, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I would have loved to have, heard the conversation between her staffers and her. after the interview. I mean, they could not have thought that went well, you know. But my phone was blowing up. I was actually working out at the time, and I'm getting text after text. Are you watching this? Are you watching this? So, I mean, I give her credit for going to Fox News. I will say that. But I feel like she did that because she needs to. Like, at this point, she might have nothing to lose because she's trailing. Real Clear Politics showed an updated electoral map just a little bit ago with the averages of the swing states, and Donald Trump right now has 312 electoral votes. He's leading in all 7 swing states on the Real Clear Politics average of polls.
It's
Polymarket odds also, Joe, went up to 61%, 62%.
On like,
Donald Trump
on like $2 billion.
The
That's backed by money, not just on feelings. It's a betting market, and there's $2
Correct.
billion at stake there, and 60% of the money's on Trump. What's that tell you? All right, let's also hold on. I'll let you talk about the word testy in a second here, but I got it. Trump's tweet. I got to just read it. Great job by Bret Baier in this interview with lying Kamala Harris. She has a massive and irredeemable case of Trump derangement syndrome. So bad, in fact, that she is barely able to talk about any subject other than the man who had the best economy ever, the strongest border in history, and who just got the unanimous endorsement of the U.S. Border Patrol. Me. Their endorsement was a tremendous honor. They said that Comrade Kamala did a terrible job and the absolute worst in memory and can't be allowed to do it again. She is also the worst vice president in history, but hopefully will soon be gone. Again, congratulations to Bret Baier on a tough but very fair interview, one that clearly showed how totally incompetent Kamala is. For the good of our nation, her inferior cognitive ability must be tested at once. And I just want to say, look up when Bret Baier interviewed Trump and you tell me the difference between that and Kamala. He was way harder on Trump, which is fine. You got to be hard on the president, but there's no tears for how he was treated, how Kamala was treated. Now, Mark, what is the deal with this word testy that I keep on seeing all over the internet and on social media?
My goodness. I mean, this should tell you how in lockstep the mainstream media are. This is from Elon Musk on X. Now, there were 7 or 8 headlines from the mainstream media today, and they all use the word testy in their headlines. From Elon Musk, who sends out the commands to the NPC media puppets? I'd like to meet them. They should really use a thesaurus so that every media outlet doesn't use, in all caps, the exact same words every time. Joe, who sends out the marching orders for this? Is it somebody from the DNC, the Harris campaign? How can they be this in sync without some sort of coordination?
We have no idea the name of the people that are putting these 4 a.m. talking points out for all the media to come. Right? I guess they'd be the 6 p.m. talking points because they came out in the middle of the day right after the interview ended. Testy must have been the word that got the best reaction, I guess maybe in the focus group. That or the media is controlled by the same people pushing the same narrative. Or both. But both can be true, but it can't be neither, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was CBS, The Guardian, ABC, and there was like 3 or 4 others too.
I just can't believe she did this bad. Mark, Bret Baier gave her a chance to clarify her support for taxpayer-paid sex changes on criminals, illegals. She pulled a Bill Buckner. Yankees are in the NLCS, and we got the baseball going on, so we got to use the baseball references while we still have a chance here. But she Bucknered this.
She said that was 5 years ago.
Well,
that was her answer.
Buckner was how long ago, and people still remember.
And then he followed up, and she said, "I'm going to follow the law." Okay.
We're going to move on in a second here to what Trump was like on the campaign trail in the same time. But was that the worst interview you've ever seen for a president? That in past campaigns that would have ended it, right? There's no question. There's no doubt.
Right. I remind you, we are 19 days away from Election Day. 19. Is she in the middle of a collapse, or are the polls wrong? I don't know. I guess we're going to find out very soon. So I can tell you one thing. She does not have the momentum in this campaign right now. It is all on Donald Trump's side, and that is not me being partisan or biased. That's backed up by what we're seeing in the polling.
It looks like Mr. Momentum has changed directions. Little
Yeah,
Giants.
and the polling was pretty much spot on in 2020. It was off in 2016, as we know. The only thing I could say, Joe, is if this polling's off, are they overcompensating for Trump support this time instead of undercompensating? I don't know. There's too many polls out there that are showing him in the lead, so I would say no.
Yeah, it doesn't get measured by yard signs or boat parades. It gets measured on Election Day. We won't know till then. It's all just speculation. That's the fun part. I love it. It's like betting football or betting. It's just fun. You don't know until it's game day. All right. Meanwhile, that all went on with Kamala and Bret Baier. Let's see what Trump was like on the campaign trail and also how the media covered it. So Trump had a town hall in Oaks, Pennsylvania Tuesday night. However, the town hall was paused numerous times to deal with medical emergencies. There were, I think, 2 medical emergencies in the crowd, and Trump stopped the question so that responders could help the people without disturbing the crowd. I guess then music was started after, and the crowd was singing. Keep in mind, this is all easily verifiable since it's a town hall and on video. After the second medical emergency, though, was taken care of, I guess it was just Trump on stage dancing to music before the town hall was eventually just called. Mark, would you like to go over how the media reported on this event?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's explain to our audience how that went down.
Okay. Well, let's go with Max Rose first. Ryan, can you play that audio of I think it's MSNBC's Max Rose talking about Trump and what he saw?
Look at you have to be demented to stand on stage and start dancing when it's a town hall. I mean, with grave threat and also just supremely incompetent and entering the final stages of his life. You know, I feel bad for his family right now. I know so many people have to deal with their parents as they've gone through stages of dementia, and that's clearly what they're on the precipice of having to deal with now, but he certainly should go nowhere near the Oval Office.
The bottom line is we don't know about his health. We don't know about his mental health or physical health and the intricacies that are important to know for viewers and voters who are making a judgment about whether he's fit for presidency, because he has not released those records. Thank you very much, former Congressman Max Rose and Michael.
Mark, for 2.5 years on this show, over 2.5 years, have we not screamed at the clouds and into this microphone about Joe Biden and John Fetterman not releasing their medical records? Who are these people? Who are these people?
And it was Kristen Welker also was pressing J.D. Vance, or I think it was J.D., on getting Trump's medical records and his cholesterol level, I think, on the Sunday talk shows. There were medical emergencies at this rally. I want to go back for a second. Kamala Harris had the nerve to tweet out, "Hope he's okay," in regards to this rally of Trump dancing for 30 minutes on stage.
Not the 2 medical emergencies, Donald Trump.
Donald Trump, yeah.
You can't make it up. Let's go to ABC. So about an hour after that audio you heard was live on, I think it was MSNBC. About an hour after that happened, ABC News debunked the Harris campaign's claim, what that guy said, the tweet that Trump had a senior moment on stage. Let me just read you what ABC said. 30 minutes in, 2 attendees suffered medical emergencies. The incident shifted the mood, prompting Trump to cut the question short and instead play some of his favorite music. In certain quarters of social media, people had a field day with that. And I guess on screens, it might have looked quite strange. Inside that hall, however, people were having a good time. What can I tell you? It did not seem out of the ordinary. It seemed almost intimate. And at the end, Trump did something he very rarely does. He came down off the stage and mingled with his supporters. He was signing autographs and shaking hands, or what I like to call pressing the flesh. Real quick, and I'll just read this tweet from a spokesperson from Kamala Harris, Ian Sams. Trump had a town hall in PA last night consisting of pre-screened questions moderated by Kristi Noem. He abruptly cut the event, spent 30 minutes simply standing on stage looking at his audience with music playing, and there's no explanations as of why. This is just like high school when they're just trying to see what rumor or what lie gets the most traction, right?
Yeah, they are desperate, Joe. They are desperate at this point. I think they're grasping for straws because they know they are, if not losing, in a very close race.
Joe Biden came out a full day later, aka yesterday, after everything was debunked, and screamed into the microphone, "He's become unhinged. Look at his rallies. Last night he stood on the stage for 30 minutes and danced. I'm serious. What's wrong with this guy?" Coming from Joe Biden, who probably had no idea he was wearing a Trump hat.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, Joe, by the way, I meant to ask you, do you think the Kamala Harris interview with Joe Rogan is going to happen now after the interview with Bret Baier?
There is absolutely no chance that the Joe Rogan. Imagine him calling, Jamie, pull up the tweet. Okay, let's talk about vaccines, Kamala. Jamie, pull up the tweet from 2020. Now, when Trump was president, you said you wouldn't take his vaccine, but then you mandated everyone take that vaccine. What was that all about? Was that the same vaccine? What's she going to say on Joe Rogan to that? It's over. It would be worse, and it's like a younger audience. No. To answer your question, no.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. We got to take a break, though. When we return, we're going to cover Trump's appearance at the Economic Club of Chicago and also a scene from Ethel Kennedy's funeral that looks straight out of the movie The Godfather. Was someone pulling the political strings right in front of our face? Stay tuned to Thinking Logically here on 99.3 FM WBVP. Cash for your house. PGHbuyers.com. If you have an unwanted house but don't want the hassle of selling, visit PGHbuyers.com to see if PGHbuyers.com can help. No inspections and a fair cash offer. Visit PGHbuyers.com to sell that unwanted property for a fair price today. You know, when Joe Biden shuffles in front of the cameras to answer scripted questions during the day, he lies like Don King. But what you don't know is, when he goes to sleep at night, he lies like an Egyptian king because he uses MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Grown only in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River, its long staple cotton makes it ultra soft and breathable. Use the promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings on this amazing product. It's Joe Corsi here from Thinking Logically to tell you about Beaver County's #1 realtor, Mark Galla with RE/MAX Select Realty. With over 10 years experience, Mark knows all the ins and outs of the real estate business, so whether you're looking to rent, buy, sell, or swap your house, you can rely on Mark to take the hassle out. Mark Galla of RE/MAX Select Realty, going above and beyond.
Tri-State Sporting Arms on Main Street in New Brighton is now open. Stop in and explore their extensive selection of high-quality firearms, pistols, and accessories. Tri-State Sporting Arms also pays top dollar for used firearms. Their experienced and highly trained staff is here to assist you in selecting the right firearm for you. Stop on down to Beaver County's newest firearm store, Tri-State Sporting Arms, at 807 3rd Avenue, New Brighton, or check them out on Facebook.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically here, 99.3 FM WBVP. In the first segment, we were talking about whatever that was, Kamala Harris, Bret Baier, and we're going to get into some things now. But we have a caller. Hello, concerned citizen? Is that who I'm talking to?
Good citizen.
Good citizen.
Yes.
Good citizen. Good citizen. What is your
I'm
concern?
also concerned as well, so that's just fine. You guys were talking about the mainstream media using identical words to refer to the interview.
Yes.
Testy. Okay. So back, I want to say about 15 or so years ago, Conan O'Brien, if you guys all remember the Conan O'Brien show, which hasn't been around forever, he had, I guess they were traveling from New York to California to do a show from there. And because of the gay marriage laws, he was going to marry two men, the one that worked on his show. And he had shown a bunch of the local medias around the country using the identical phrase, Conan O'Brien is about to push the envelope on late night television. Over 30 different clips of it. They use the exact phrase. So in the mainstream, somebody's showing you that Operation Mockingbird, which has been around since the 60s, is still in full effect today.
Oh, he is right. And, you know, we've had the QAnon shaman, or the America shaman he goes by now, on, and that is his main thing, the Mockingbird media. But you know what? The term push the envelope is a weird thing for all of them, because push the envelope, whatever you want to say, that's like a flying term. Like, that's what it means. You push the envelope. It's very strange. It's very strange. It's like they all get the same facts with what words to use, you know?
Well, and it's just rinse and repeat, and then the public, all the dummies in the public will just repeat that same word over and over again, and then go to the polls and vote for God knows who.
Yeah, there were a lot of testy people out there that I saw today. When all right, good a citizen. Anything else?
No, that was all. I heard that, and I had to give a call in about the Conan O'Brien thing because I think it's hilarious. I'm actually going to send it to Ryan, and I'll have him forward that over to you.
Okay, please do. Thank
right,
you so
guys,
much. Thank you for your call. Mockingbird Media has been around for longer than we think, since the 60s, and it was right in our face, and wow, push the envelope. All right, Mark, let's get back to Donald Trump here for a second, someone that also likes to push the envelope. So Trump showed up in Chicago to be interviewed by, I think it's the Chicago Economic Club, and he just went ham, embarrassing everyone. The audios are amazing. Ryan, I don't know what I titled the audios as. One of them is him just making fun of someone and calling them an idiot. The other one is him making points. You could just play them both, I guess. I don't know.
What does the Wall Street Journal know? I'm meeting with them tomorrow. What does the Wall Street Journal know? They've been wrong about everything. So have you, by the way. You've been wrong.
You're trying to turn this. You've been wrong. No, you're trying to turn this into debate. There are business people. There are business people.
You're wrong. You've been wrong all your life on this stuff.
Listen to the crowd's reaction, though. Ryan, play the other clip in 1 second, but just listen to the crowd's reaction. They actually have his back in Chicago. Ryan, play the other clip. Talking about tariffs.
Let me tell you, I know how committed you are to this, and it must be hard for you to, spend 25 years talking about tariffs as being negative, and then have somebody explain to you that you're totally wrong. It'll have a negative. It will have. I'll go a step further. If you don't do this,
President Trump,
40
million jobs is a lot of jobs to rely on.
They're all coming back.
Those are 40 million jobs. Those are 40 million jobs in America that rely on trade.
Are you ready? John Deere, great company. They announced about a year ago they're going to build big plants outside of the United States, right? They're going to build them in Mexico.
And you threatened them with tariffs and they stopped.
That's right. I said, if John Deere builds those plants, they're not selling anything into the United States. They just announced yesterday they're probably not going to build the plants, okay? I kept the jobs here.
Mark, was that a masterclass in explaining how tariffs work and how he's keeping the jobs here? I know you want to get to the funeral, Ethel Kennedy funeral, so just quick.
Well, yeah, Donald Trump is one of one. I mean, that was not a friendly interview by any means. It was, similar to what Kamala Harris walked into last night. Well, Donald Trump goes in there and owns the room. He was on the Patrick Bet-David podcast, which got released today, and he said tariff is the most beautiful word in the dictionary. So, I can't wait to listen to that. But yeah, I mean, he owned the room.
Own the room. Waltzed in there, owned the room. And I mean, I don't need to make any excuses for him like Kamala's supporters do. I stand on what he said. All right, now, Mark, let's move to the Ethel Kennedy. So yesterday at the Ethel Kennedy Memorial Service, we saw Obama pull Joe Biden aside and have a little chat with him. I just want to say, number one, this looked like a scene out of The Godfather. Number two, Obama looked so frail, weak, and worried about not getting a fourth term. Did he not? What do you think? What was said? What do you think was said? What's your opinion on that? I know you got to rush out of here pretty quick, but.
Yeah, Joe, oh my gosh. When I saw this exchange, it looked like you said, something out of The Godfather. I mean, does this confirm that Obama is basically running a shadow government with Joe Biden as the puppet and Kamala Harris as the next puppet in line? I mean, that's what that tells me. So Biden, there was a professional lip reader that came out today and was able to read some of the conversation. I'm looking on New York Post right now to see where this is. But apparently, Biden told Obama, I'm stronger than her. To which he responded, yeah, that's true. And then apparently he said, we still have time. Joe, any thoughts on that?
First of all, Joe Biden's not physically stronger than Kamala Harris. I have to say that. Time for what? Is he talking about replacing? Are they going to switch back? What do you mean? There's still time for what? I have no idea what he could have meant. There's still time. Maybe time to catch up on the polls? I don't know.
Well, then Biden must have said, I pulled the article up here now, yeah, we'll get it in time. And then Obama had said earlier, it's important that we have some time together, in a possible reference to campaigning alongside Harris. So does he mean time to catch up in the polls, to restore her image? I don't know, but it was an interesting conversation right out in the open for everyone to see while Bill Clinton sits there in the pew. Amazing they let these guys in church. By the way, Joe, I'll come back to you in a second. Wanted to mention before I leave, Kamala Harris, the first presidential candidate to skip tonight's Al Smith dinner in New York City since Walter Mondale.
Now,
apparently, she recorded a video on Zoom and she sent it in out of caution. Apparently, so she has a pre-recorded message. They're going to show there at the Al Smith dinner, but she is not going to attend.
Now, for our audience, the Al Smith dinner, that's with all like the priests and stuff. It's like they do a little stand-up routine, and Trump
Catholic charities.
Yes, yeah. Trump took down Hillary. He had a lot of good jokes about Haiti and Hillary. It takes a village, and Hillary has taken many in Haiti. But no, Kamala, she couldn't show up to that Al Smith dinner. Number one, she can't tell jokes. No, she has no personality. Can you imagine her doing stand-up? Let's be real. She can't drop any lower in the polls.
I would agree. But I got to get going, Joe. Have a great rest of the episode. Ryan, talk to you later. I'll see you guys on Monday.
All right, Mr. Gordy, God bless.
God bless.
Okay, so she's not as strong as me. From Joe Biden, who literally probably couldn't beat his way out of a paper bag. So weak and feeble, couldn't make it up the steps. The lip reader, I can't get over that. All right, let's... I think it's time to move on to Ukraine. So Biden, I think, went to Ukraine was it yesterday? I believe it was yesterday. And then today it was announced that Blinken, how much aid is Secretary Blinken sending? $425 million of support for Ukraine's defenses. And that's sweet money. But I don't understand why Joe Biden's going to Ukraine. Can anyone explain this to me? What does going to Ukraine in the height of the presidential election do? Again, he showed up at Ethel Kennedy's funeral. We're talking, and then all of a sudden, Ukraine. Is he going to go talk to Zelensky? What are they going to talk about? Did Obama send him there? I don't know. But Joe Biden going to Ukraine at this time, this hour, makes absolutely zero sense to me. All right. Before we take a break, we got an update on this Afghani national. Ryan, remember this story? The Afghani national that's run around wild?
Yeah.
Okay. So the Biden-Harris administration now admits the Afghan national accused of plotting an election-day terror attack did not undergo starting vetting they previously claimed he had. Nasir Ahmad Tlaib was never vetted or approved by the State Department for special immigrant visa status, despite officials from other agencies claiming that he cleared the stingiest, strictest processes. Additionally, sources familiar with the investigation tell Fox that Nasir was not well known to the U.S. government when the administration facilitated his departure to the U.S., despite his security role with the CIA in Afghanistan. Fox has learned he was employed as a local guard outside the base perimeter. I think we told you guys that last week. And he would not have been among the most thoroughly vetted U.S. partners. So is it just any and everyone coming over here?
That's scary, Joe.
Very scary, right?
And for somebody, for a group of people that pushed the protecting American lives when COVID was going on, they're sure careless with letting whoever and without even
if it saves just one life.
Exactly. And you're not vetting, you have no clue. Who knows what third world diseases are coming over that border that we have no idea even how to medicate.
That's why I always said we need to have people getting vaccinated every day in this country. That's the solution they want to get. I mean, that's you make a good point about like the people disease ridden that from these. I don't want to say make fun of the people or talk down to them, but they're not. I don't want to say they're not like us, but like we're not the Red Cross. We can't just bring everyone in and just take care of them. You know whose money it comes out of? Your paycheck, my paycheck. It's not free. This isn't free candy and everything. Here, I don't understand why this is so hard to understand.
Their hypocrisy has no end, Joe. It really doesn't. It's
January 20th. It might have an end.
Yes, hopefully. I'm confident. I'm feeling good.
All right. Before we move to break, also, let's just cover this. Israel has reportedly killed Hamas chief Yahya Sinwar. I don't even have, we need Mark here for the pronunciations or whatever. Now, the reason that's significantly news is because Kamala is running for president. And Kamala said last March that it would be a huge mistake for Israel to go into Rafah because, I'm quoting her, she studied the maps, Ryan. I should have pulled up the audio. She studied the maps.
Yeah.
So since that interview, whatever, in March, the IDF has rescued, I don't know how many hostages in Rafah, and now they've eliminated the architect of that 10/7 attack, whatever his name is, Yahweh Sinwar. So again, Kamala's on the wrong side here. Again, she's saying she studied the maps, Ryan.
She studied the maps.
The maps. Switch the maps. So I switched the maps, and then I switched the maps again. I don't get it. All right, we got to take a break, but when we return, we're going to be talking about my favorite character in this movie that is 2024, Tim Walz. The guy's he's full of fun. We'll talk about him when we get back here to Thinking Logically on 99.3 FM WBVP. You know, when Joe Biden shuffles in front of the cameras to answer scripted questions during the day, he lies like Don King. But what you don't know is, when he goes to sleep at night, he lies like an Egyptian king because he uses MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Grown only in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River, its long staple cotton makes it ultra soft and breathable. Use the promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings on this amazing product. It's Joe Corsi here from Thinking Logically to tell you about Beaver County's #1 realtor, Mark Galla with RE/MAX Select Realty. With over 10 years experience, Mark knows all the ins and outs of the real estate business, so whether you're looking to rent, buy, sell, or swap your house, you can rely on Mark to take the hassle out. Mark Galla of RE/MAX Select Realty, going above and beyond. Cash for your house. PGHbuyers.com. If you have an unwanted house but don't want the hassle of selling, visit PGHbuyers.com to see if PGHbuyers.com can help. No inspections and a fair cash offer. Visit PGHbuyers.com to sell that unwanted property for a fair price today.
Happy days are here again at the annual Trunk or Treat Car Cruise this Saturday, October 19, from noon to 3 p.m. at 4301 Dutch Ridge Road, Beaver. Brought to us by presenting sponsor Moon Township Ford, it's the car cruise you've been waiting for all year. So come out and celebrate the fall season. See the classic cars you love, plus a few new ones too. Moon Township Ford will have a special display showcasing some of its newer vehicles. The Trunk or Treat Car Cruise this Saturday, presented by Moon Township Ford, where friends send friends.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically here on 99.3 FM WBVP. Brought to you by So Fresh, So Clean Pressure Washing. Remember, whether you need your house washed, driveway clean, patio done, fences, gutters, you name it, call Dave from So Fresh, So Clean Pressure Washing at 724-252-4489. That's 724-252-4489. They're fully insured and offer free estimates. So what are you waiting for? Don't be the outcast in your neighborhood with a dirty Decker house. Call So Fresh, So Clean Pressure Washing today. Okay, so I teased who my favorite character this election cycle, this movie that is 2024, whatever we're watching here. For me, it's got to be Tim Walz. This guy's actually amazing. His audio, his visual, the way he carries himself, the way he talks. Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Hi, I'm Tim Walz. I got a $5,000 shotgun that I have no idea how to use strapped on my back while I change this air filter on camera for you. I'm Tim Walz. When he gets caught in a lie, he somehow weasels out of it by just saying, you got me. I don't speak right. I'm a knucklehead. And it works. It works. He's like that mayor from Canada a few years back that got smoking crack.
Oh,
remember
yeah,
that guy?
yes.
And you couldn't get rid of him.
Right.
He just stayed around and he got more popular, except Tim Walz isn't getting more popular. If he is, it's not in a good way. So Tim Walz had some funny comments here. First, let's go with what he said. He was talking about J.D. Vance. And as you know, J.D. Vance is a venture capitalist. And just play what Tim Walz is saying about J.D. Vance, please. Should be the. You got it. Yeah.
This guy's a venture capitalist cosplaying like he's a cowboy or something. I don't even know what a venture capitalist does most of the time.
It's funny though. I don't even know. I'm gonna be the vice president of the United States, and I have no idea what a venture capitalist even does. You might want to learn. I don't know. Then Tim Walz did an interview, and they got on the subject of the Green New Deal. The interviewer asked, "Should the Green New Deal be scrapped?" He said, "No. There's just one problem. The Green New Deal bans fracking." This is why he actually hurts Kamala, because he does stuff like this. She says she's not for banning fracking. Then Tim Walz comes out and says stuff like this. She says she's no longer radical, but she picks a VP that's pretty radical. Remember his bill on abortion he signed when he was governor, where babies were literally being born and killed. This is exactly the point I heard on CNN. I guess we'll call him a right-wing strategist on CNN. He makes this point. Ryan, play that audio. I think it's CNN.
Hey, well, wait a minute here. The vice president, once upon a time, supported taxpayer dollars, your money, my money, your money, all the people who are watching, to go towards people who broke the law coming into our country, to give them driver's license, to pay for tuition when we're struggling to pay for our own children to get a college education. Then her own running mate signed into law in his own state these very things that she's now saying she's now against them. And the American people are supposed to believe that the vice president has now all of a sudden had an epiphany. And all of a sudden, all of her beliefs have magically changed, yet the guy she chose clearly believes these things. And you're flipping it to Republicans?
Now, if you watch CNN and you hear that, do you shut down? Do you just do a hard reset? What is the sound the PCs used to make? I can't remember. But again, Kamala, this should be enough right here. She wants to use your tax money to pay for illegals' sex changes and criminals' sex changes. If you were in a prison serving life with a bunch of dudes and you weren't gay, why wouldn't you try to just get a sex change and go be with the women? Just saying. All right, speaking of sex changes, former Bachelor contestant Josh Sider claimed in a new interview that he'd been pretending to be a transgender woman online as part of a social experiment to, quote, expose how gullible and delusional the left is. This is a real story. He's quoted as saying, "I think a lot of trans women are turned on at the thought of themselves being women. Guess what? It doesn't magically make them women. We live in a free country. You can do whatever you want, but don't make your fetish my truth. I don't have to accept it." He started the interview with a full face of makeup on and wearing a scarf with the colors of the transgender flag, Ryan. But then he had one of the staff working on the show come and wipe his makeup off. Then unveiled the host to the camera. He said, "I faked being a faker. I pretended to be a pretender." This is how we win, though. What did I say? You have to mock it. This is how you win. You mock it. It just didn't make sense. Former Bachelorette star just decided one day, I'm going to be a woman. All right, Ryan, do you know who Cassidy Hutchinson is?
It sounds real familiar, Joe, but I can't put my finger on it.
Okay, so she's a former White House aide who served as assistant to the chief of staff, Mark Meadows, during the Trump administration. If this is where you remember, she was the one that testified to the January 6th committee that Trump attacked the Secret Service agent and tried to grab the steering wheel and the beast, I think they call it, grab the steering wheel and drive it back to the Capitol and all that fun stuff. That never actually happened. Anyway, the House Administration Subcommittee on Oversight, that's a mouthful, I know, but they've obtained Cassidy Hutchinson's signal messages. I think we have a call. Before we get into the story, I'll take the caller.
Hey, what's up?
Send them down.
Good. Joe's telling me to send you on through right now, so I'm going to put you through.
Send them down. Is this Dawn? Dawn, you there?
Yeah.
How are you?
We'll see how much you guys laugh at the re-education camp.
You know what? I got to tell you a story real quick. We were doing Halloween decorations, and all the way from the basement to outside, my wife wanted to get the Halloween decorations up. I could do a re-education camp. I can't do a labor camp, though, I don't think. I won't make it all day.
I don't think they're going to give you any choice. When President Harris and Vice President Knucklehead seize power in a couple of days, you know what my grandmother would have said? You should have thought of that before.
What's up, Dawn? What's on your mind today?
I don't know, but is he going to be called Vice President Knucklehead?
Hopefully he'll still be called governor by the time 2025 rolls around.
Oh, I bet they don't hope so in Minnesota. Do you think he should shave his head and go with the Uncle Fester look?
For Halloween, that might work. That's not a bad
Did you see
idea.
him when they dressed him up like a little farmer in his little outfit on the campaign trail the other day?
That was so funny. Them actually, because you've said it, I've said it, Elmer Fudd, and then they actually dressed him up like Elmer Fudd with like assless chaps. It looked like I don't even know what he was wearing. But
have you ever seen from the old 50s, 60s, whatever, Jackie Gleason with his best friend that worked in the sewers? Maybe they could have him coming out of the sewer when he's vice president.
That's a good idea. What else?
You know what, though? I'm ready to sell out. If they need anybody to, tear up Trump votes and scribble Harris knucklehead votes in crayon or anything, do you think we'll be done counting in Pennsylvania by Christmas Day?
Christmas Day. No, honestly, I don't think. I think this is just going to, they're just never going to accept a Trump win, I don't think. And they will take it all the way to the Supreme Court. I don't know if there'll ever be an end to counting. There really wasn't an end to counting last election. If you really sit back and think about it, the media just called it. There were still votes being counted when they called it.
Well, they have assured us that there was no cheating, though. Every day in the newspaper, on MSNBC, there was no cheating at all. So, anyway, I better let you guys go because you only have about 23 more days before they tie your hands together and you start to shuffle off to the camp, right?
I hope I get to at least January 21st. But if Trump concedes on January 6th, I might cry.
Oh, no, Trump is not going to concede. That is our one hope. Hey, you guys take care.
You too.
Thanks, Don.
Actually, Don might think I'm joking. I actually researched this stuff. When the Vietnam War ended, all the South Vietnamese, they were literally sent to re-education camps. And some of like the people that were sent, were soldiers, some were generals. Some of them people were in the forest for like 2 years getting re-educated. Some were back in a couple weeks.
Huh.
I might never come back. I'm nervous. I don't know. You're going to. You're an accomplice. You'll be a couple week kind of guy. Hopefully it's not during football season.
I sure hope my guard's really nice.
All right. Before we go to commercial, let's just cover what happened with Cassidy Hutchinson. So, they obtained Cassidy Hutchinson's signal messages, and it showed that Cassidy Hutchinson was in direct communication with Liz Cheney, and Liz Cheney also helped her get new lawyers. So the Oversight Subcommittee broke it all down for us. And never before seen correspondence between January 6th Select Committee member Liz Cheney and Cassidy Hutchinson. In the month leading up to Hutchinson's explosive testimony, Cheney secretly communicated with Hutchinson directly and indirectly through Elisa Farah Griffin. This was despite Cheney knowing doing this was unethical. This all transpired when Hutchinson was still represented by her attorney, Stefan Pazinto. Hutchinson reached out to Farah Griffin after Hutchinson's second, I think the time she testified, and she met Farah Griffin in her Georgetown home on April 26, 2022. In Hutchinson's book, she claims Farah Griffin told her that she had more information to share with the Select Committee. Farah Griffin agreed to contact Liz Cheney on Hutchinson's behalf and spent the next month secretly passing information between Cheney and Hutchinson. This including scheduling another Select Committee interview where Hutchinson testified about her new information. So according to the never-before-seen text messages, Cheney communicated directly with Hutchinson while Hutchinson was represented by an attorney and subject of the Select Committee's investigation. Cheney, as an attorney herself, knew that talking to Hutchinson without her attorney present would be unethical. After Hutchinson's third transcribed interview, Hutchinson reached out to Cheney. This is behind the scenes because it's only a big deal because Liz Cheney was on the Select Committee. This would be almost the same thing as a witness talking with the judge. It just wouldn't happen, ever. But it's weird. It happens in our government. And remember, Liz Cheney is a Republican who's endorsed Kamala Harris. I wonder why. January 6th narrative's falling apart. All right, we got to take a break. We'll be back for one more segment. We're going to cover the FBI updated crime stats. Who would have thought New Orleans had more than 0 murders? When we return, this is Think Logic on 99.3 FM WBVP.
They're back. New Brighton's annual Halloween parade is back this year by ghoulish demand. Make plans to come enjoy this spooky New Brighton tradition Wednesday, October 23rd, starting at 6:30 p.m. Legend says that this parade full of your favorite ghosts, ghouls, goblins, fire trucks, and bands started back in the 40s. If you would like to dress up in your favorite costume or have a group, band, or float and want to be in the parade, email nbparade@gmail.com. Beaver County Radio will broadcast the parade on Facebook Live so that family and friends around the world can be a part of this tradition. The parade features local bands and, of course, the best thing about Halloween, candy. Come out and enjoy the New Brighton Halloween Parade, 6:30 p.m. Wednesday, October 23rd, and have a ghoulish good time, if you dare.
They don't call her Confiscation Kamala for nothing. Don't take it from us.
And I support a mandatory buyback program.
A mandatory buyback program? That means the government forcing you to turn in your firearms. To what lengths would Kamala go? Well, she doesn't even support the individual right to own a firearm.
I'm prepared to take executive action and put in place a ban on the importation of assault weapons into our country.
We get it. Sometimes it's tough to understand what she's talking about. But on the Second Amendment and your rights, Confiscation Kamala has been crystal clear. Her gun control agenda comes straight from that petri dish of bad ideas that is California. She can claim to be a gun owner all she wants, but we all know she's the same anti-gun California radical she's always been. Don't be left defenseless. Defeat Confiscation Kamala. Vote Trump like your life depends on it, because it does. NRA Political Victory Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. NRAPVF.org.
You're listening to Beaver County Radio, coming to you live from the Fry Transportation Studios. Beaver County Radio and Fry Transportation, a winning team. 99.3 FM and WBVP, providing news, sports, and information for 76 years.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically on 99.3 FM WBVP. We still got about 3 or 4 stories to get to. The first one involves something we've been covering for about a week now. This is from Western Lensman on X. 3 weeks before an election and after the debates, FBI revised their crime statistics, showing crime increased by 4.5% in 2022 instead of dropping 2.1% in 2022. Here is ABC's David Meir fact-checking Donald Trump in front of millions of viewers with lies that'll never be retracted.
It's down all over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof. Despite their fraudulent statements that they made, crime in this country is through the roof. And we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. And it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But
Excuse me, the FBI they were defrauding statements. They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a fraud.
Remember that one debate where they fact-checked one candidate, not the other?
Yeah.
Well, it turns out they fact-checked the one candidate completely wrong. They were wrong about everything. They had their facts completely wrong. So does that guy lose his job? If you delete everything they have on that computer in front of you, all the ads, promos, Ryan, do you get fired? I mean, there's no mess. Don't do it. Don't do it, Ryan. You can mess up. You get infinite, I don't want to say the bad word, but you get infinite mess-ups with these people.
Right.
Whether it's the administration, whether you're in the media, because they're in the bag. They're paid to do this. Remember that. All right, from the Daily Mail. Remember we're hearing this? Venezuelan migrant gang Trade de Agua. I can't even pronounce it, but I'll learn to pronounce it next decade, I'm sure. They keep on coming over. They have now taken over at least 4 apartment complexes in San Antonio, Texas. This comes as corporate media dismisses their presence in Aurora, Colorado as a handful of incidents. Do you have a landlord? Anyone out there have a landlord? Let me know when they start becoming, I guess, gang members. I don't know how that works. Also, Jimmy Carter voted. Did you see this, Ryan? 100-year-old Jimmy Carter.
Yes, I did see that.
I have nothing against this. Even if he dies tomorrow, his vote should still count. He voted ahead of time. I have.
At least he was alive when he placed it.
I have no issue with that at all. It's just they wheeled him up with his mouth open to vote. It's sad. But he voted. It's your right. I'm no problem at all with it. All right, this next and second to last story. There was a debate in Massachusetts for the Senate seat between a Republican, actually a few people. Elizabeth Warren was on the stage though. Republican John Deaton called out Senator Elizabeth Warren during that debate for having access to JP Morgan's CEO, but never questioning his involvement in financing Jeffrey Epstein's child trafficking operation. Ryan, play that 1 minute audio. It's amazing.
To go after them on overdraft fees, where folks like JP Morgan Chase were making more than $1 billion a year off people who were struggling making it day to day. I'm in those fights, but I think crypto ought to have to follow the same rules as everybody else.
Briefly, I wish Senator Warren would attack inflation the way she attacks crypto. I wish she would attack securing the border the way she's focused on crypto. She's so focused on crypto. She had the CEO of JP Morgan Chase available for questioning, and they had financed the largest child sex trafficking operation in history with Jeffrey Epstein. And Senator Warren didn't ask a single question. She wanted to talk about crypto because she's so hyper-focused. Now, I know that because I was raped as a child for a period of 2 years, I might be a little more sensitive to those child rape victims. But I want to ask Senator Warren, why would you not ask one question? JP Morgan Chase settled for $290 million to these rape victims. They had to settle with the U.S. Virgin Islands. And Senator Warren doesn't ask a question. You want to know why? Because a former Democrat president's involved. Because her donors are involved. Because people that she knows are involved. Again, loyalty to an agenda, loyalty to a party. I come in, and I want transparency on everything. I'd like her to answer the question on behalf of all those rape victims, though.
So, look,
people she knows are involved. I wonder what people. Is he talking about politicians? He's talking about strictly JP Morgan and with Jeffrey Epstein. Ryan, name a few people that are on that famous Jeffrey Epstein list that we've seen. It's a trick question. There's none. Okay. There's none. It was like the question about the Jets. Who was the quarterback in the Jets Super Bowl? The show yesterday. There hasn't been. They haven't been.
Yeah, right.
We will never see that list. It makes you wonder why. Is Elizabeth Warren on that list and she's going to be elected senator again? Again, she should have to answer for it. She's Mrs. Fair Equal Treatment for everyone, and against the big guy, against banks, against crypto. What about the children, Elizabeth? What about the children? All right. And our final story of the day. Real quick, let's just read some crazy weird voting numbers. I think this is out of Michigan. Let me see. I think it was out of Michigan. From Gabriel Sterling on X. The first day of early voting is a blowout. As of noon, they're at 122,049 voters so far today. The record first day was 2020 with 136 votes cast. We will be blowing out this previous first day record. Great job, counties. Average check-in time is 55 seconds. It was Georgia. So clearly something fishy there if they're checking it in 55 seconds. But hey, 122,000 people voting by noon. Great job. Great job, Georgia. That should be a fun one to count come election night. All right, Ryan, we got 2 minutes left. Did you hear the news about where Donald Trump is going to be on Sunday?
I did, yes.
So he is going to attend the Steelers-Jets game. It's Sunday night, isn't it?
It is almost identical to what it was that Elon did on the last Sunday night. Pretty awesome. Good thinking.
Now,
good planning.
I'm kind of joking around when I say this, but we have to ask it seriously after everything that's happened. Do you think they'll try to kill him there? I'm being serious. I'm being kind of serious.
You know what? It was entertaining when they did the Batman movie there, and there was all that violence, but I don't want to see it. I do not want to see it happen in real life.
There was a terrorist attack there. The Dark Knight, and Hines Ward, the slowest Steeler at the time, was able to outrun the stadium collapsing. I think everyone else died. I believe Trump's going to be sitting in Thomas, is it Toll, his suite. That was the same one Elon sat in. Now, from what I understand, Thomas Tull, who's a billionaire, is very pro-MAGA. He was CEO of Legendary Studios. Guess who made the film The Dark Knight, where Heinz Field gets destroyed?
Who?
Legendary Studios.
No.
That's just saying, what a coincidence.
Wow.
I'm not saying that, but what are the odds again?
Absolutely.
If there's even an earthquake, anything at all.
Yeah.
If the ground vibrates I don't care if someone drops a 16-ounce pounder at the same time. 70,000 people, I don't care.
Keep your ear open for key trigger words like Bane. And, if they say these words during the broadcast.
Do you think Tim Walz is actually Bane this whole time and could show? Oh, something like that.
The voice? Yeah.
we go with this. We got 19 days the election. This is what we're talking about. Possible fake terrorist attacks going on at the Steelers game. But hey, it could happen. It could happen.
It could.
What would you put the percentages at? I'm going to say 1%.
It's got to be pretty low.
Yeah.
I sure hope it's pretty low.
Okay. All right. Bread and Circus, there is a game tonight. Real quick, who do you have? It's the Saints and... Who's it?
Oh, gee, who do they play? Saints.
We got to scramble. We got like 5
we do have
seconds.
a scramble.
Give me the other team.
Yeah, the Saints usually aren't a good team to pick.
The 2 weeks I went against them, they were good. They putting up 40 points.
Okay, I'm going to be able to grab it here in 1 second. The Saints
Broncos.
and the Broncos.
Oh, I picked the Broncos, but I'm sticking with it. Bo Nix. All right.
I'll take the Saints just because.
Where's it at? Is that New Orleans? Regardless, either city has crime stats, and Denver is
to New Orleans.
Owned by immigrants.
Yeah, right.
All right, we got to go. We'll be back on Monday for another episode of Thinking Logically. Stay tuned. Then we are out of time. My name is Joe Corsai. I will see you Monday, 5 to 6 p.m. Thank you.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St. Bart.